There is a documentary going around. It is about a penguin that heads neither to the feeding grounds nor back to the colony. Instead, he stood alone, heading for the mountains. This is because he is cracked out of his mind. He's disoriented. His mating body probably cheated on him. Purely a biological error where he doesn't even know where he's going. But some people take this as something inspirational, something philosophical. I am some people. The penguin became a motivation, a symbol of hope, a metaphor to walk your own path. The penguin died, by the way. Shh, we don't talk about that. All we need to know is that the penguin headed for the mountains, and no matter how many times the humans brought him back, he would still go back to the same path. And it's a shame that I made that video 6 months ago because it would have fit perfectly into the story of the nihilist penguin. But you're goddamn right, I found another one. Nomiya is a gangsta, or at least he acts like one. He got expelled from school and has this afro because he wanted to look like Kobe. Nothing goes right in his life. He even got caught in a bike accident which left the girl paralyzed from the waist down. Immature, petty, and pathetic. He came back to school to reveal his feelings to his crush and shits on the school gate on the way out. What the fuck, man? Togawa, on the other hand, is wheelchair bound. The two eventually met and Nomiya challenges him to a game of basketball. Wheelchair edition. Nomiya got cooked, Togawa's a stud. There's one more character. Takahashi is a jerk, wonderful. He's the reason why Nomiya quit the basketball team and dropped out of high school. He bullies other kids and thinks he's better than everyone else. I hate him. He steals people's bikes and shit. 5 chapters in and you already know this isn't your typical manga. I can't lead you into the next plot because there's no clear direction for where the characters will go. One's figuring out his life, the other's getting his life back together, and the last one had his life crushed. They don't share the same goals or the same principles. Out of the 3, only one seems promising, but that one had hit rock bottom a long time ago. So shit, you have all 3 characters at rock bottom and you're not sure how much worse it's gonna get. One would think it could only go up from here, but real's not a fairy tale. Real's real. Remember this guy, the man in pursuit of perfection? I made a video on him a couple months back about how he's obsessed with crafting the perfect panel, the perfect storyboard, the perfect pacing. Takehiko Inoue embodies perfection himself, and he goes to lengths that are quite frankly psychopathic. I thought I knew a lot about the guy, but what I didn't know was, as he was writing such an intense story that needed his eyes, hands, and hair all over the project, he was also drawing another manga at the same time. I get why he's bald now. Inoue wrote Vagabond alongside Real for about 5 years. He was not in pursuit of perfection, more like the pursuit of insanity, and I can't help but notice the resemblance. But why? Why double the workload? Why not just focus on completing one first and then move on to the other? He enjoys it. This man enjoys pushing himself in exchange for his sanity. I get why he's bald now. Both of these manga share the same artistic growth. Vagabond wouldn't be what it is today if it weren't for Real, and Real without Vagabond. Timmy has 2 assignments to do. Timmy finishes one and then the other. Inoue does 2 at the same time, using his math to help out with science and science to help out with math. As a result, you get 2 stories that are like iron sharpens iron. But Real is nothing like Vagabond, no. When you read these 2 stories side by side, you can feel how different it is from multiple standpoints. Vagabond takes itself very seriously, almost requiring Inoue to be fully engrossed into the story. While in Real, you get to see Inoue being his true self, almost like an outlet for the things he couldn't express through Vagabond. And it's those subtle humor that makes all the difference. And if there's one thing I know about Takehiko Inoue is that he draws with intention. I've seen the crash out, so I start looking at the expressions in great detail. Sometimes I'd just stare at a panel for a good minute, knowing that Inoue probably spent a whole day trying to draw this face. But don't just look at the pictures to take up a whole page. Sometimes the things that stick with you the most lie within the smallest of frames. Real is much more real. It's more personal in a human context. You see how people hit rock bottom and what it takes to climb back up. Inoue has done a whole series about putting a ball in a basket, but somehow, this one feels different. Wheelchair basketball is an entirely different sport from regular basketball. Each disabled player is categorized by how mobile they are, with 1 being mostly immobilized and 4.5 being fairly mobile. Each team can only send out 5 players with a maximum of 14 points combined. That makes the game fair. Now imagine if the NBA limited teams to 30 feet on the court. That's actually a pretty good idea! But labeling Real as a sports manga doesn't really feel right. It's not entirely about wheelchair basketball, and it isn't entirely about basketball either. If anything, I see Real as the most inspiring story I have ever read. These guys, they're not winners. In fact, we've seen them at their lowest. I think it was around 15 chapters in that I started tearing up whenever the characters got emotional. I hadn't noticed when I started getting so emotionally attached to not one, not two, or three, but every character in the story. You thought you've met the worst of the worst, and then you meet someone that's more unfortunate and you're like, fuck! But at the same time, it's these guys that have the worst fate in life that will go on to inspire you the most. They weren't born paralyzed. Some develop a disease. Some caught in accidents and they break. They say stuff they don't mean. You go through all sorts of emotions with them and you can't help but feel lucky that you're still standing on your own 2 feet. But these guys accept that they can't and still make the most of what they have. It is beyond inspirational, and you start to realize they're no different than us. No matter how much you hate a character at first, somewhere in your heart, you start to root for them. 2 of the 3 main characters are disabled, so naturally, when you see those 2 getting better at life, you'd expect the able-bodied one to sprint across the finish line like a champ, shaved his head, ditched the fro, no distractions, completely locked in. Oh yeah, he's ready. The story's named Real cause it is. If you told me these guys were actual people in real life, I would say show me a Japanese kid with an afro. The characters don't just decide to do better at something and get good at it. They work hard, they get inspired, then they fail and fail and fail and question their purpose. Was the work they put in all in vain? If you ever work hard towards something, you know exactly how that feels. Life is not a success story. Sometimes you work really hard just to get nowhere. So you start questioning everything and doubt yourself. When you see one of the characters doing better at life, you feel happy. But then the story pans over to the others and the struggle continues. They grew up in the same town, went to the same school, and yet they feel out of place. You can see the prejudice faced by people with disabilities. You don't have to think about what it's like to be handicapped. The story does that for you. So you struggle with them, chapter after chapter after chapter, until they pick themselves back up. Some of the most inspirational stuff revolves around Takahashi and his gang in rehab. We have a jerk, a weep, and a pro wrestler. Now wrestling, it's all entertainment. I wouldn't call it a sport because sometimes they be saying stuff like,
"And I'm a man who loves to play with boys.
His name is in the Epstein files."
Shiratori is arguably the most inspiring character in Real. Paralyzed from the waist down, Shiratori was Takahashi's roommate in rehab, where everyone has accepted their own paralysis. But not the Scorpion. On the first day of rehab, the doctor outright tells him that he will be stuck in a wheelchair. Takahashi crumbled after realizing he couldn't walk for the rest of his life. His ego deflated, his dreams crushed, and he sank into despair. But Shiratori took a deep breath and vowed to walk again in 3 months. And these 3 would go on to share some of the most memorable scenes in the manga. You're gonna cry and laugh and feel proud. But most importantly, inspired. Throughout the entirety of reading Real, I always come back to this one question. Why? Why do all of them, the able, the disabled, why do they keep coming back to the same path? It's not like you'll work out if they work hard, especially when half your body's not responding. And you're not hearing this from me. They tell themselves this a bunch of times, so why? Nomiya has all the reason to just be a normal person and repent for his sins. So why does he still pick up the basketball? I mean, it's what got him in trouble in the first place. Why not just leave it all behind? Why does Togawa pick up the basketball? Takahashi and Shiratori too. Despite everything they've been through, why do they still return to where they were? And I don't know what took me so long to find an answer when the answer was right in front of me all along. It's the penguin. I'm at the age where my peers have all gotten jobs, moved on to being adults and going all in on 17 Black. And I too have pondered that thought, especially the last one. But no matter how much thought I gave it, no matter how much people try to convince me, I always end up coming back in front of the computer, talking into the mic, and spending countless hours editing just for you to hear me yap for 10 minutes. Even if I got hit by a truck and my legs give up on me and you don't see a new danjo video for a couple of years, best believe that there will be a new upload from me one day. See, when you have something that keeps you going, you gotta hold on to that. It's okay to waver here and there and go off the path, but you know what's the right path for you. Though Vagabond and Real have been on indefinite hiatus to this day, I hope Inoue has found the right path for himself. The mountain was never the goal, it was the path that leads us there. That's what makes them such great characters. Why Nomiya wants to turn pro, Togawa to go faster, Takahashi to get back on the court, Shiratori to stand in the ring, and Mori Buntaro to climb that mountain. Delusion and purpose cannot exist without one another. When you have a purpose in life, you gotta be a little bit delusional to fulfill it. Stand up, walk your own path, and be the damn penguin.
Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
I was disappointed in my performance because I knew that I'd gotten away with something. I didn't want to be a lucky climber, I wanted to be a great climber.
He's done it! Alex Honnold has made history again.